people work to make money. That's the
And there's nothing
foundation.
wrong with that.
That's your foundation of your relationship. And so what you have to do is make sure you're right on that. Make sure that you've done your wage surveys, but also communicate to the people. I went into a company one time in Alabama, and literally the people were telling me that how much they were being paid was criminal. It was so low that it was criminal. And so I brought them the state wage surveys right off the internet, and they were right in the sweet spot. I mean, they were being paid appropriately. But it's also important to be able to walk up to that employee and give them that information. Okay, here's right off the state surveys. This isn't surveys we did. And that helps a lot when all of a sudden they go, okay, well, wait a minute. How did we come up to the conclusion that we were grossly underpaid? Mainly because they're just an echo chamber, right? So I think you got to start there. It's Maslow's hierarchy, right? You've got to satisfy, and the number one thing you have to satisfy is compensation, and get it right, and be able to be very transparent about it.
Yeah, and compensation is not easy. Like, we're in a lot of and you are too, because you're in hospitals. You're in a lot of, I'm sure you have dealt with a lot of organizations where they're changing around their pay system.
Right.
And it never, it's an ongoing process, because you make a change, especially a huge one, like going to work for, pay for performance type systems. And there are all sorts of ways where it just goes wrong.
Generally, they're too complicated, and the people do not understand it. Okay, I tell a story I heard about Wes Welker. He was a receiver for the New England Patriots for a long time, and I think he's from Oklahoma or someplace like that. And he was growing up, and he started playing soccer, but he didn't really understand the game. Okay, and they were playing a game, and one of his teammates kicked the ball into the goal. And all the parents got all excited and everything. And Wes Welker was like, oh, that's what you want me to do? And the next thing you knew, he took over the league. He didn't understand that they were doing all these drills and all that, but nobody had said, okay, what we're trying to do here is try to put the ball in the goal. Okay.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot in compensation, where a lot of people, they're not really understanding that, oh, if I do this, this, and this, I get paid a lot of money. Okay. And again, to me, it gets back to this whole thing of getting the organization and the people aligned so that they're all going in the same direction. We all know where we're going, and people know, okay, this is what the organization wants me to do to get us to that goal.
Okay, Clark, so you've talked about one of the conventional wisdoms that you've turned on its head, and that's the people over pay, people over profits.
Right.
Give us a second one.
The second one would be that cutting turnover is one of the key things you have to do, and it's one of the very first things you should do. And that is figure out what your organizational specific issues are that is creating your turnover. And the 80-20 rule applies, but at the very same time, it's one of the very key things you do at the very beginning. And that is that you are cutting your turnover, and it automatically helps recruiting, because now all of a sudden you're no longer having to recruit as much as you were before. And that's one of the things that happened around here, was the fact that all of a sudden our requisitions got cut in half because our turnover got cut in half. And the really cool thing about this around here is our volumes are going up. And so we're having to hire new people, new positions, because of all the new volume and everything.
Yeah,
and
not because you're replacing people.
Right. And a matter of fact, the last little bit, we have a meeting once a week talking about the jobs we're replacing. And most of the jobs we're replacing are not replacing a person. We're adding a position because of the volumes and everything. And so and by cutting your turnover, it automatically helps you with your recruiting. And then we already talked about, I see a lot of organizations that they are very much focused on compensation for time served. And I
Mm.
see that as a very bad thing. That has nothing to do with the value of the person. It has nothing to do with what they're doing for the
It's
organization.
it's laziness, I think,
Absolutely.
because instead of figuring out, it's the same reason why I have trouble with the demand for people to come back to work. Like, there are other reasons why you want people in the building. It is much easier to have a culture and to have like that instantaneous inspiration. But a lot of the time, like pulling people back from COVID, it was, I have no other way to measure their productivity than time in seat. And that's laziness too. Like,
Right.
you should understand what they're doing, and I mean, there is subjectivity here, but you're making an estimate on the value of what they're
Right.
doing, and they're either doing it or they're not.
It's objective and subjective.
Right.
And you look at a job description, you can pick out 3 or 4 KPIs of what do you have to do in that position. Okay. For instance, you take the KPIs of being a CHRO. Okay. Number one, in my opinion, should be turnover. Okay. The second one should be recruiting and staffing up and all that. And then from there, now that's just the foundation. You built a foundation. Now you can do all those other things. So I think that one of the other issues is that a lot of times when I walk in, the recruiting plan it consists of, we hire the best people we can. Okay. And what I tell people to do is, what makes you special as an employer? When I came to work for the hospital here, they had a great situation. They just weren't telling anybody. And so there was a whole lot of things that we did to get the marketing out there. Recruiting is nothing more than marketing for people. That's
Sure.
all it is. And it's not brain surgery. But one of the things I ask people is, what are the top 5 reasons why you work here? Okay. And so I had a whole bunch of people give me their answers to that. I got like 40 or 50. And there was one word on every single one of them that jumped off the page, and that was community. This was started as a community hospital. It's no longer a community hospital. It is a regional healthcare system for the north side of New Hampshire. And but at the very same time, that's how they saw themselves, that they were a community hospital taking care of their family, their neighbors, their friends, the people they go to church with, et cetera, the people in their community. And so we put that out there, and we put our employer brand, what made us special. Here are the 4 things that make us special. And we put that out on our careers page. We had an instantaneous change where all of a sudden we started getting a lot more resumes and a lot better resumes from people, because now all of a sudden they didn't just see us as this big hospital on the hill, which is what we are, but they actually saw us as a group of people working together, helping the community.